Hello, my name's Alison Templeton. I want to talk to you today about Disperse dyes. I love them. They're just a delight to use. Quite messy at times, but the results are interesting and exciting, and that's what makes me have a go with them. Now, they come in little jars. I buy them from Chemtex. You can buy them from a variety of places, but they come in powder form. What's inside this jar is powder. And you take a little spoonful and you mix it with warm water. And I use these little jam pot jars to mix it. Now, if you put the lid on tightly, you can give it a shuggle, and that helps to mix it up. Now, it will dry up if you leave the lid off, so that's why I like a lidded jar. And what you do is you actually paint areas of colour, and you'll find that although the paint looks sort of dull and uninteresting, when you print with it, you get these vibrant, scrumptious colours. But what I want to show you today is something that is not quite so colourful, is work that I've been doing today. And I've been using a couple of greens, and they look extremely dull. And I use a little sample and attach it to the colour just to remind me what the colour will be like when it's printed onto fabric. These are the two print colours that I was using. One is a darker green and the other one a lighter green. And with that, I have painted them onto the sheets of paper and then allowed it to dry. And as I press a lot of leaves and flowers in the summertime, well, you can do it in the wintertime as well, but it's not such fun going out. It's actually absolutely pouring outside today. But you really want anything that you press to be dry. And I just put it into a little habitat press that I bought years and years ago, way back in the 70s. Yes, that's how old I am. And these leaves are things that I have pressed from my own garden. And I use those to mask the things that I'm going to print on. And I like to print on fabric because then you might be able to do something with it. You can print on paper. Now, an absolutely plain, straightforward print is where you put down the leaf. I think that was probably something similar to that one. There we go. And the leaf just sits on top of the piece of fabric that you're using, and then you put your dried coloured paper on top of it, and you use a heat press, or you can use an ordinary, everyday domestic iron. I think everybody knows that if you're working with printing and colour, it's as well to protect your iron by using baking parchment. That goes without saying. I also use special heat-resistant sheets in my heat press. You know, the kind of thing that you use for your baking. And so that was my first print, where it's just straightforward. The fabric was white, so you get the white showing through. But as you work with it and get the leaves themselves take on colour, this actually has the dye stuff then on it. Then you can start to play about and print some more. There's an area there where you've got a lighter green. You've still got some of it white. So it takes some working out what's going to happen. That print there was just the leaves straight back on, turning them over. They've taken on the colour, just turning them over and printing again with that. So you can mix and match, and as you get more complicated with things, the colour builds up and you get sort of double prints from, it was actually on that coloured sheet. And it just gives you a different look to the thing. It's not as clean as the first print I showed you. Another thing I was trying today it's been really wet, so I've had plenty of time to spend indoors working on these things. I had this lovely piece of chiffon, and I had enough to make a scarf, so I decided I like this limey green, almost yellow green on the chiffon, and I decided that I would have a go at making a full-length scarf. Now, it wasn't an easy task because the area of my heat press is only, you know, as square as that original print. Yes, it's only as square as that size. So it was difficult. It had to be done in pieces. And then, so as not to have an overlap, what I did was made a break in the colour. You can see this curvy line here. So I had sheets painted in the dye stuff, and then I used my leaves. Particularly nice are these hosta leaves that the slugs that I curse so often have eaten lovely holes in them, and it makes for a very nice print. Now, the particular dye I was using here is somewhat fugitive, so I've managed, inadvertently, I didn't plan this, but you get a kind of deeper green there, more of a blue-green in amongst it, but I don't worry about such things like that. I like what happens just by chance. So I've used Honesty leaves as well, and the Cosmos are great. I've actually pressed a lot of Cosmos. The other thing that is very nice is carrot leaves. So I don't seem to be able to grow carrots, but as long as I've got the leaves, I'm happy. Somebody comes along, a small four-legged animal comes along and eats my carrots before I get to them. But then on the other side, I was getting a bit worried about doing this strong colour all the way over the scarf, so I decided in the end that on the other side of it, I would actually use, again, the leaves in reverse. They've taken on the colour, and then I was able to put them down here and print those. Some of the strange things that happen, there's a little bit of honesty there, and it's just the edges of the honesty that have printed, and my leaves are losing dye stuff and it gets fainter and fainter. But all these things are just happy accidents, and I quite enjoyed making this, and I certainly will wear it. And I should point out that it's hand stitched all the way around. Took me some time, but it's a thing you can do while you're watching television, or watching television with half an eye. There we go.